Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we are doing some more work on the Kei Works. So I'm planning to get on track soon, hopefully. I'm hoping maybe next month, but there's a few jobs we need to do before that. We have already done some modifications, as you would have seen in previous videos. They were kind of more performance, nice to do's. Today I'm focusing on one of probably the most important aspects of preparing a car for track. So we've already done the tires, we've got some nice new tires. The next most important thing, in my opinion, and I'm sure most of you will agree, is brakes. So I have got, first of all, I have got some Monster Sport pads. From my understanding, Monster Sport has replaced Suzuki Sport Racing. I guess a bit like Gazoo Racing for Toyota, I think. So anyway, I've got some of their pads for front and rear. I've also decided to go for some Dixel slotted rotors. So hopefully this will give us some nice braking on the circuit. So for me, the most important thing is tires. Second of all is brakes. And that's kind of assuming that you've already done maintenance on the car, so your oils, fluids, etc. So all of those have already been done. They were done when I got the car. The only thing I might do is change the brake fluid because I'm not entirely sure what dot rating it is. I probably won't do that today while I'm doing these brakes. I'm not sure if I've got time to do all of the brakes today. This video might be spread over a couple of days is what I'm saying. But I'm gonna make a start. So I'm gonna do discs, pads, and then maybe fluid, but I'm not sure if that's today. But once I've done that, in my opinion, I think this car will be ready to track. Basically, the brakes on here, because it was sat around quite a while, the brakes are kind of a little bit crusty, so I really don't want to use those on track. I'm sure they would be fine. I mean, they seem fine driving around and everything, but you know, at the end of the day, when you're on track, you really want your brakes to work as well as your tires. So change the tires, next to do is the brakes, and then hopefully we should be getting onto a wider circuit. So I'm really excited to get this on track. I think it's going to be an absolute joy to drive around a wider circuit. So yeah, let's get to it. So first things first is get this up onto the quick jacks so we can do all four corners. I won't show you that process. I've shown you before and it's, you know, a relatively simple process. So yeah, the next thing you'll see is it up on the quick jacks. There we are, up on the quick jacks. So the first things first is get the wheels removed, and then I haven't decided which end we'll start with, maybe the rears. So we'll take the rears off and then start stripping them down and putting the new pads and discs in. Apologies, I've kind of jumped ahead and I forgot to record. So I've taken off, there's two bolts that hold the caliper on to the back. I've taken those off, I've taken the caliper off. While I've taken it off, I was just checking to see if, I don't know if you can see that. While I took the caliper off, I was just checking that the slides are working well. And yeah, they're really, really free. It's really, I'm surprised actually. I thought I was gonna have to clean them up and free them off, but nope, that's working. So I'm just gonna rest the caliper behind here. The next thing to do is get this disc off. Now, probably I'll just have to give it a tap. Yeah, as you can see, they're quite crusty and not that good, to be honest. So looking forward to getting new ones on here. So I'll just tap this off. Now, interestingly, I was expecting to have the handbrake go to some kind of drum on the inside of here. That's what I've seen in the past, but it looks like the actual handbrake operates the caliper. So that's the first for me. But yeah, anyway, that's good because then we don't have to worry about shoes or anything on the inside of here. So after quite a bit of persuasion, I finally got these released. So it was just stuck on there with lots and lots of rust from, well, from a bit of age, I think. So yeah, I mean, these discs are not, they're not the worst, but for going on track, I don't think they're going to be a good idea. There's lots of score marks as well, so the pads aren't really touching the whole surface area. I know they're the rear, so it's not such a big issue on this car because it's quite a light car. But anyway, as you can see, the rear is quite definitely not a full surface contact there. But yeah, anyway, it's off, so I'm going to get this cleaned up and then we'll get the new disc and pad in. Unfortunately, I have no idea where my wire brush is, so I'm having to use this toothbrush wire brush. But it will work the same, it'll do the same job. So looking at the way you install these, it seems, I don't know why there's a difference between how many slots and the direction of travel, but interestingly, with these 6-slot rotors, when you install them on the right hand, they need to kind of go what I would expect to be is counter-intuitive, but that's the way the manufacturer says, so who am I to argue? Here's the new one. We go on here, like so. Interestingly, what the old ones didn't have, but this does have in these holes, like jacking screw points. So next time I come to get it off, all I need to do is put a couple of screws in there, just tighten them in, and it should pull it off the hub. So that's good. But yeah, disc looks good at the moment. Nice if I could hold it in with something. I think I might just put a nut on here just to help me hold it in place. So the next thing to do is the pads. So I've got the pads here. Now I did have a look at these earlier, and these are quite possibly the smallest pads I've ever seen. Look at these. Look how big these are. I'm pretty sure my bicycle has bigger pads than these, but hey. Right, yeah, let's look how we're gonna get these on. Okay, so I've wound the caliper in, or the piston in, should I say. I'm now putting the pads in, a little bit fiddly, with the kind of springs and shims and whatnots. Okay. That's one, and this one, okay. Oh, it should be a case of just slide it onto the rotor. There we go, we're on. Okay, that took longer than it should. So now we just need to put the bolts back in. Okay, here we are, all back together. Looking good. See the nice red pad in there. Discs look good. So yeah, I'm going to do the other rear. I won't take you through that because that's fairly obvious, and then we'll move on to the fronts. We've done the rear too. We're now on to the fronts. So it's going to be the same procedure. It's going to be the two 14mm heads on the back. Yeah, 14s on the back, and then we'll pop the caliper off. We'll hang him out the way. Then we'll get the disc off, and then we'll just basically in reverse do that, put it back together. So first things first is let's get it loosened. Okay, so already a problem with my plan is they are not 14s on here, they're 14s on the rear, I guess because of the smaller caliper. On the front here they are 17s at a guess. So I'll just quickly exchange tools. We have got the 17 tools. So I'm trying to do it in such a way that you guys can still see, but I think it's going to be quite difficult. As you can see, the caliper's free now. There's a bit of a lip on this disc, I think. Stay or not? I think I'm just going to get a hanger for that. Next thing is to get this wheel off. I think it's just gonna be the same as the others, a bit of gentle persuasion. Nothing to really write home about. There's quite a lip on the edge there, I can feel. And yeah, overall, even on the inside, I can see that the pad's not really making full contact. So definitely glad we're changing these out. Definitely a worthwhile job. So we'll just clean up this hub. That's that ready to go. I guess next thing we need to do is get the disc on and then pads. So let's get to that. Here we go. Where did I put the nuts? Next things to do is slip out the old pads. So that's nice and easy to do. Actually, these front pads, there's quite a bit of meat left in them. So let's get the new pads into place. First, we'll just give it a quick brush. Now the rears seem to have kind of a direction, an inner and an outer one, but I'm not sure if these fronts do or not. So there's a pair. They certainly look the same. Part numbers are the same, so I'm gonna say they are the same. So first things first, get the orientation and slip it in. I managed to get it on, push the piston back. I did have to open the bleed nipple a little bit. Actually, that reminds me I need to put the cap on before I forget. Open the bleed nipple just to let a little bit of fluid out, just so I can push that piston back. But I'm gonna be replacing the fluid anyway, so I don't mind if I lose a little bit. Just need to get this lined up now. Nice, so we'll get that nipped up and then on to the last one. We also do need to bed these brakes in, which might be another video or on this video. I don't know how the schedule's gonna work, to be honest. But yeah, anyway, let's have a look. Okay, so we've done all four corners now. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. So the next thing to do is the brake fluid. I've just got some Wacos .4, but it's Super Pro 4, so it does have the equivalent of 5.1, I believe. So I'm not sure if there's anything better in Japan yet. I'm yet to experiment. What I did use in the GTR, it doesn't seem that I can really get here, so I'm gonna have to find something different. But I know Wacos is a renowned manufacturer, so I'm assuming it must be pretty good. So yeah, so that's the next thing. I'm just waiting on a new bleed system because I don't think Karen wants to help me bleed my brakes every 5 minutes. So yeah, so hopefully should be here in the next day or so. So once I get it, I will test it out, see if it's any good. And yeah, and then bleed the brakes. Then we just need to take it out for a bedding session. So we just need to take it out for a ride to get the brakes bedded in, which I'll just follow the manufacturer's Monster Sports guidance as to how they want us to do that. And once we've done that, I think it's ready for a track day. So yeah, exciting stuff. So join me in a little bit once I've got the new brake bleeding kit. We are back again. It is the next day. It's a little bit chilly out here today. It's 14.5 degrees in here. Side note is the AC has been booked. That is coming in the next week or week and a half, I think it is. Today, we are going to bleed the brakes. We've done the discs, we've done the pads, so all that is left to do is the brake fluid. Now, it should be relatively easy on these because they're kind of all single pots. There's only one bleed nipple that I can see on each caliper, so it shouldn't take me any time at all. However, I have got a new toy. Now, in the UK, I did have a brake bleeding kit, pressurized brake bleeding kit, but I never actually used it because I think it was meant for probably British Leyland or older British cars, I think, because none of the caps fitted any of the reservoirs I had. I never actually tried it on my Land Rover, my Defender I had, but it probably would have fit that, but I never actually tried it. So I don't know. Anyway, I've cannibalized it and I've actually made myself a nice pot to put the old fluid into from the nipples. I've always used jam jars in the past, but it's nice to actually have a dedicated container for that now. So it's got a nice little hook so I can hang it. So it's gonna hopefully make things nice and easy. But the important part is my new toy. I have got myself a brake bleeding kit, a pressurized brake bleeding kit, and it looks rather good. So it's from a company called Tool Company Straight. From what I can make out, it's a Japanese firm. So here is the main pressurizing unit. So you put your new fresh fluid into here. It's got the pressure dial on here, so you pump it up a few times, get the pressure in there, and then when you crack the nipples, it should force the fluid through. It does have a nice quick connect on this hose, which gives us the option to, so in the kit it comes with a adapter, which looks really nicely built actually. So this, yeah, it looks really, the build quality on all of this I'm really impressed by actually. So this looks like it kind of adjusts to different sizes, shapes. So I'm thinking it will probably fit pretty much anything, almost anything. So yeah, you just put it down, you kind of put these sides in to go under the lip, and then I guess you tighten it up with this nut, wind this down probably, so it actually creates a seal. And anyway, so we're not using this today, although it would be fun to try, but I have something very special from Tool Company Straight. Oh no. They have this. So this apparently is an adapter for light or K Suzuki vehicles. So it looks like this probably goes in the top of the reservoir. This then slides over, you nip down the Allen keys to create a seal, and then hopefully this should be the same fitting as what's on the end of this. So yeah, perfect fit. So I'm curious to see, how good is this? Will it fit? Because I've not actually tried it yet. So taking you over to here. So this is the brake reservoir if you didn't know already. So we have this from Tool Company Straight. So let's have a look. So if we remove this cap, let's set it to one side. So I believe this just goes into here. So it should be a nice, oh yeah, that's going. Oh, that is a beautiful fit. Okay, and then I guess this just slides over. I need to push it down a little bit further. Oh, look at that. Oh, I tell you what, that, I'm impressed with that. That is a perfect fit. Now I guess I just need to nip these down so that we get a nice firm seat on there. I don't think I probably need to, I think finger tight is probably okay with these, because that O-ring had a really good seal on there. So next I just need to put some pressure into this. Well, I need to fill up the reservoir first and then put pressure on it. So let's have a look. Okay, so the next thing to do is connect the pump. Now I haven't put any fluid in this because what I want to do first is just check that we have a good seal, or a good seal. So what I'm expecting is, so I'm going to put a little bit of pressure on here and just see. So I'm just going to put half a bar on there. So put half a bar on there, then I'm just going to wait and see if we have any change in pressure, because then we'll know if there's a leak of any kind. Okay, so we're about 15 minutes later and we are still at half a bar pressure. So definitely no leaks there. I'm really happy with that. So I'm going to release the pressure. Now I just need to fill it up. Okay, so what we need to do is fill it up. So I guess we're just gonna open this up. A little bit of pressure left there still. Oop. And we're gonna put our fluid in. So like I said, I've gone for the Waco's Super Pro 4, which is a .4 but equivalent of a .5.1. So that's pretty much similar to what I've been using in the GTR. Of course, it's not sponsored. I wish it was. But we're just gonna put some gloves on first, actually. Comes with this nice filling nozzle, which doesn't seem to actually fit this. Oh, it does. does it? That's questionable fitment at best. At least if I put a litre in and I bleed a litre through, then I know for sure that's kind of everything bled through. And I'm holding this quite awkwardly because honestly the spout that they give you with it isn't that good. Okay, so what I need to do now is just bleed some up to the highest point and then connect it, just so that we don't kind of just introduce air to it. Ideally we want to just introduce fluid. So I'm going to pump this . Okay, so I've got fluid, I don't know if you can see or not, fluid just up to here. So we just need to keep this approximately 0.7, it says in the manual. So as long as it's not over 1 bar. So idea being is that once we start cracking the nipples, this fluid should start filling that pot automatically, and it should keep it at this level. It should. You can see the max line here. We are a bit below the max line because if you remember I let some out to fit the pads. So let's see how we get on now. So I'm pretty sure I'm right in saying that you start from the furthest point from the reservoir. So for this, it's good that the ABS pump is right beside the reservoir as well. So furthest point I believe will be the rear passenger side, and then I guess rear passenger side, rear driver's side, then the front passengers, then the front drivers. So let's start with the rear passenger's side first. Okay, so here we are. I'm gonna hang my little pot up here. Actually, let's hang that below. I guess ideally it wants to be below the nipple. Interestingly, these nipples are a different size to the front, so I'm hoping this hose, so first of all, let's get our spanner on the hose. Hoping this hose is gonna fit on these nipples. Oh, it will. Okay, so now all we need to do is tuck him up out the way. It should just be a case of cracking this and watching the fluid come out. There we go. So the fluid is now coming out. So it's quite an orangey kind of apple juice colour, this fluid at the moment. The new stuff I've just put in is a real clear colour. So I'm hoping once we get the new stuff come through, it will just start turning clear. So we've been draining for a little bit. We've just got a little bit of contamination coming through. So I'll just wait for that to clear. But I can already see the colour of the fluid now is almost totally clear, which tells me that's the new fluid coming through. So I'm going to just give it a couple more seconds, check the pressure up this end. Still got lots in the reservoir. So I'm going to now stop this bleed. And we will take off my pipe like that. Now you can see the colour of the fluid is this kind of apple juice colour, whereas the fluid that was now coming out is a nice healthy clear. Oh, let's get this cleaned up and the cap put on, then we'll move on to the next. Don't think you're probably that interested in seeing another one, so I'll do the other rear. So it's the same thing again, take the cap off the nipple, then we'll put the pipe on there and start draining out through there. So I'll just fast forward this one and then we'll move on to the front. Okay, update on the rear driver's side. You can see the fluid is now a nice clear colour instead of the apple juice colour. That's obviously all clean stuff coming through now, so that's good. So I'm going to nip that off and then let's move on to the front. And then we're just going to crack it and hopefully you can see the fluid now come up and over, kind of golden colour, golden apple juice colour. And then, yeah, we'll just let it bleed out until it changes to a nice clear colour. Okay, hopefully you can see now the colour has changed. It's very clear now, almost kind of as clear as water. So I know that this is definitely bled through now. Hasn't taken very long because obviously the rear two have that much more fluid capacity just because they're that further away from the reservoir pot. And now we've kind of bled most of the system. There's only kind of what's left in these small lines Probably the other side will go even quicker because that's even closer to the pot. So yeah, let's nip this off. Okay, that's nipped up. On to the last one now. I'll try not to cut this one because it's going to be interesting to see how fast this fluid comes through clear. So remove the cap, pipe onto the nipple. We still have plenty of pressure on the bleed kit. So let's crack this and see what happens. So yeah, a little bit of golden color there. I think that will soon, I don't know how well that's coming up on camera, but I can already see a slight color change there. That is crystal clear now, so I am really happy that that's bled through. I'll just give it a couple more seconds. I've got plenty of fluid left. Okay, so that is the brakes bled. The only thing left to do now is bed the actual pads in. So it's too late to do that today, really. Probably another day. Again, not sure if I'll include that in this video or not. It would be nice to, but I'm not sure how long this video is going to be. Anyway, I do want to give a shout out to the tool company Straight. I will put a link in the description. This video is not sponsored at all by them. I'm super impressed with this bleed kit. I know there's plenty of other bleed kits on the market, but this one, the build quality, especially this plate that fits perfectly into the Suzuki. They do other plates for other specific models, but again, this kit did come with a kind of universal adapter, which I'm sure would have fit this anyway. But seeing as this is going to be my kind of dedicated track car, I'm going to be doing brake bleeding probably quite regularly, so why not have, you know, the actual made part for it, so it fits perfectly, you know, no having to fiddle around with adapters or universal fitting. But anyway, this, the build quality on this, I'm super impressed by it, super happy with. It was a worthwhile purchase. Karen will be very happy that she no longer has to help me bleed my brakes every 5 minutes. Now, before I go anything over the brakes, look how nice of a day it is today. I don't know if you can see, how well you can see, maybe zoom in. That is Toyama City in the background there, and there's a little bit of heat haze today, but you can see Toyama mountain range over there. It's a beautiful day. Anyway, car. The brakes have cooled down now. I've left it in gear. Of course, I don't want to sit on the handbrake or anything, but you can see how well the pads have now kind of bed in. They've got rid of all the surface finish on there, so they're now bedded in nicely. And on the rear as well. Now the rears are not vented, they're just single discs. I mean, bearing in mind this car weighs 790 kilos, plus me. There's really no need for much braking up on the rear, but the fronts are vented. But yeah, I'm really happy with the finish of those brakes now. So yeah, I think that concludes this video. So thank you all for watching. Hope this video has been entertaining and interesting for you. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up and a like. Drop a comment down below if you liked this video or you want to ask a question or anything. Much appreciated. And yeah, until next time, I'm going to enjoy the rest of this day, carry on driving. I'll catch you guys later. See ya.